Okay, this is the second video. It's going to be a pretty quick one because it's two internet comments. Okay, internet comments. We need to think about the forum of internet comments when we think about how to address them. Okay, who writes these comments on the internet? Who can be bothered to write these kind of comments? The perpetually bored or the perpetually passionate, right? Or just random internet trolls. So we need to take that into account. We need to figure out who they are, right? Who is this person who's described themselves as angry local? Yeah? And who they're talking to. Right? Okay, so there's two opposing views in this. Okay. And the argument of the first one, again, I'm going to assume you've already read it, right? Is that they should be left in peace. All right, that's probably not peace. Left in peace, right? That's probably their contention, much more than anything else. All right. And there's a value notion here, right? That phones are better than conversation, right? Okay, and then he's kind of rushing to another argument here, which is a least harm argument, right? Why, should I be harmed instead of someone else being harmed? It's less harm to allow me as an introvert to kind of sit here than for them to be harmed by not getting to talk to me. All I want to do is relax, Relaxation argument. Alright? So it's a real shotgun of bang, 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 bang. There's not a lot of chance to recover or consider or whatever else. It's all done with rhetorical questions, so to consider why he's not going into any detail. He's just hammering with these rhetorical questions. And what is a rhetorical question? It's a statement which is grammatically phrased like a question, right? And why do you do that? Well, because you want the people to realize the answer themselves. So it's more convincing to say, who would prefer to eat, broccoli when you could eat ice cream, right? It's a rhetorical question. You know the answer. And somehow it's more convincing because the voice that answered the suggestion came from you, right? Okay, now we have London Cleary. He's not anonymous, right? He puts his photo there, and I wouldn't doubt. I would think maybe he is that's his name, right? So he is willing to put his name to a face. He is, anon, isn't he? All right. And then he tries to address, right, the social media's worst impact is the way it allows unthinking young people to relate to people like themselves, right? So he's talking about unthinking young people, right? Do you think he's talking to unthinking young people? No, he's talking to older people. So the temptation here is to say that Loudon, or whatever his name is talking to angry local, right? But he's not. He doesn't care about angry local. Loudon probably understands that he's not going to change angry local's mind. He's talking to other people who are reading angry local's piece, right? So that's who he's talking to. So the fact he's talking to them, he calls young people unthinking. Then they run through a procedural type. They then transfer this to the real world, treating everyone outside outside the group, their race, blah 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 blah. This is the echo chamber argument, isn't it? Right? Not just a matter of divisiveness. New human being, you cannot relate to fellow human beings. All right. right? He's simplifying for the sake of loss of relate, right? How long before we see planning laws change to create physical gated communities of just one person shutting out others? All right, hyperbole. Instead of bringing the world together as Gates, Zuckerberg and co. Pretend to believe, well, all they really believe in money, it splits the world and the human soul apart. All right, it's still emotive. All right, he's still trying to appeal to the emotion of people. Right, the temptation here will be to say, this guy is crazy and he's, peppering with rhetorical questions and he doesn't really have much in the way of argument, whereas here it's nice and reason. But it's not true, right? There are arguments here. There's at least 4 arguments here, right? And he is quite emotional, right? Splits the world and the human soul apart. He's just talking to a different audience. That's the trick here. Anon is talking to introverted teenagers, yeah, and Loudon is talking to older, retired people, if you want to stereotype. All right, they're talking about the same issue. They seem to be talking to each other, but ironically, since the issue that we're saying, they're not really talking to each other. Yeah, they're talking to a quite different audience, and therefore the techniques that they're using are quite different. Have a look through the rest of it, pick out some techniques, and write in a few suggestions for kind of comments you could make.